Hello and welcome back to Kelly Loves K-Pop. I'm Kelly. Today we're going to do a personality reading on the group ONEWE. I believe that's how you pronounce their name. And then we're going to do a small little career spread for them at the end. So if you're into ONEWE, stick around. We're going to look into them a little bit. Okay, if you've watched my personality readings before, I like to put an astrological card with their zodiac sign for each member, just because it helps me also, get more information on their personalities to give you guys. And I'm going to use my Caroline Miss Archetype cards today. Sometimes I use my Kim Krantz Wild Unknown archetypes, but I was just feeling a different vibe today, so we're going with these. And the first member we're going to do is Yonghoon. And I believe he is a Leo. Now, I just really quickly went on to, what's it called, like K-pop profiles or whatever, and looked them up. So I didn't throw their whole charts for this. So if something's wrong, please correct me so I know in future readings. I'm just going to kind of trust the internet on this one, and hopefully they don't burn me. Let me find my Leo. There we go, Leo. There we go. Maybe next time I filter through, I will separate all the zodiac signs so it's a little quicker going on, because I think we have 5 members to this group. So I also thank you, donator, for requesting this. I really do appreciate you. I sent you that message, so hopefully next time we can work things out a little smoother. But all the same, I still hope you enjoy this reading and you get what you what you wanted out of it. As always, tarot readings are for entertainment purposes only, so please take everything with a grain of salt. I'm not affiliated. I don't know them. I don't know their companies. This is all just for fun. Okay, guys? Everything is alleged, an opinion, and not based in fact, so. Okay. And also, these cards have phrases on them. They're used as a jumping point for the reading. They are not, exact what the cards say verbatim. I will always elaborate on what the card says and give my intuitive interpretation. That's what we're here for. So, okay, I'll have it. Okay, so Yonghoon. Let's see. Oops. Okay, draw 6 cards. So we do have some shadow attributes. And again, I'm going to say what I see in the cards. Sometimes that can be negative. So if you're not interested in hearing anything negative, this might not be the video for you. Just a warning, okay? So I have Midas, or in this case, miser, since it's a shadow. And it says, hoarding money and emotions, obsessive fear of losing your wealth. So there may be something in there where either he is a frugal person, he may be the type that really is into saving his money right now. I think we do know that idle life for a lot of these groups, excuse me, I do think we know that idle life for a lot of these groups is very temporary. So he may have a concern there. So he may be in, one of those people that is trying to save or invest every penny. Sometimes I get this stuff for people that are investors, if he's investing in crypto or, any of the kind of current digital currencies. Sometimes it's that. I know a lot of these guys can be really into that. So it's something like that. Like, he's not probably a big spender. He's definitely trying to save money for, prepared for the worst. That's not always a bad thing. It just means he's maybe not the most generous person with his money. So, but, I don't know if he's in a situation where anybody expects that of him either. So we'll see. The next card we have is the Alchemist in the Shadow. And it says, misuse of the power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. Sometimes too, I get this card for people that were raised super spiritual, super religious, and they're breaking out of that. They're not interested. So could be he came from a very religious background and he's trying to break out of that. But sometimes too, you have people that go the other way and they're from a very religious background, and it can be something where they're always trying to convert other people and it makes other people uncomfortable. So it's kind of, he's one way or the other. Like, it's just showing that there's kind of like an extreme there. Something about it, either he's made his family uncomfortable because he's walked away from it, or he makes people kind of, he meets uncomfortable because he's very religious and he's talking about it. You know, we may find out more through the rest of these cards which way he leans, but it's kind of, you know, there's an extreme in that case, in that aspect when it comes to religion for him. So we have the mediator in the shadow. So it says negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. So this could be an extension of that. Like, he could be one of those people that is very religious, and he, you know, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, be one of those people that is kind of, I want to say the entertainment industry has a lot of stuff that's pretty shady going on. So he may think he has like his own, I don't know, kind of religious mission to save people. Like, I'm kind of getting that vibe with those two cards together. So it could be something like that. Like, it could be he's not extremely well liked because he's more religious and probably talks about it. And that makes some people that are in the business just uncomfortable because they are in this business to like get away from that. That's not saying there aren't other super religious people in the industry, because there are. Like, there seems to be like a little group of them that are like him, so he might run with that crew. But yeah, it seems like it does. It's either he finds his tribe or people really don't like that about him. I'll put it that way. So then we have goddess in the light. So we have feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. So that's good. He doesn't tend to show misogynistic tendencies. He seems to have a good balance of feminine and masculine energy within him. And it's, a squirrel just ran up and tapped on my window. He seems to have like a good balance of that within him, or he could even lean more towards a feminine energy. And while, you know, some people aren't as comfortable being in a more feminine energy, he seems like he's fine there. Again, his energies seem really balanced. So, yeah. Oops. Got little bits of paper. Okay, and then we have Child Divine. So obviously I think we're seeing that there's like a religious streak in his personality. And that's fine. And we have it in the light. So it says innocence, purity, and redemption suggests a special connection with the divine. Again, so yeah, he does seem to have this religious streak that he's very proud of. He's very vocal about. And I think he thinks he's helping people. I mean, and he may be helping people. I don't want to take that away from him if he is, but you know, I only can go by like his personality. I don't know. I'm not doing a reading on who he actually affects. So, yeah, it seems like he feels like he's doing good work, and he probably is. I don't see too much negativity around him other than maybe he's a little tight with his money and maybe he's a little too talkative sometimes, you know. We have student in the shadow. So it says arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge, unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. So this can mean sometimes, it's funny because I was just doing a reading on this last night with a friend. So I think sometimes he's his own worst enemy. When he wants to show his knowledge or expertise in an area, he may talk himself out of that. He may feel like maybe he doesn't look humble enough, or he's scared of looking rude or something like that. It's like almost he could be more well known for certain things and he actually talks himself out of them. Now, I just don't know if it's out of fear or in a way feeling like certain people just don't deserve that. It could be, you know, in the company he's in, he knows that the company's not going to appreciate his extra work, so he just doesn't do it. It could be something like that where he has a reason, but there's something where he could be giving more, he could be showing more, and he chooses not to. And just because a card's in a shadow doesn't always mean it's negative. But just when this many reverse cards show up, I'm going to just prepare for the worst just in case. Because, you know, you never know until you read the cards. So, yeah. I think he holds back a little bit. Hopefully in the future, maybe he'll change that. But right now, he doesn't feel he's in a position where it's going to help him. Or he may just be scared to rub some people the wrong way. But as far as talent, it could be also he might be scared of, you know, trying to look like he's standing out too much in his group. Maybe he wants to keep the group, you know, more unified. I don't know if he's the leader. Sometimes the way these K-pop profile things go, he might be the oldest member. Usually they put the oldest or the leader at the top. So it could be something like to do with that too, where he doesn't want it to seem unfair. But yeah, so he might be a little stingy with his money. He might be like a strongly religious person. And he might hold back a little bit. But otherwise, he seems like a good kid. You know, I don't see too much craziness going on here. You know, again, we talked about he's a Leo. So Leos are generally very charismatic, very good in show business because they like to be seen. They like to feel special. They like to feel wanted as well. Like what they do is appreciated by other people. Usually praise is a huge driving factor in them doing what they do. So, yeah. Yeah, I think as long as he feels appreciated, you know, he'll keep going down the path he's going. Okay, so I think I got the rest of the zodiac cards out. So the next person we're doing is Harin, I believe is his name. And we're going to go ahead and get the Aries. Aries. So a lot of times if there's like a fake maknae, a member that acts like the baby, even though they're not the baby, it tends to be an Aries. Because Aries has a lot of like I'm baby energies, or at least they can. So I don't know. We'll find out more, but I wanted to throw that out there. This card came out sideways. I am going to just kind of keep that there. It feels like it's there for a reason. I don't always keep cards that fall. Sometimes I feel like they fall because of me, and sometimes they don't. If you feel like it wasn't my fault, like the guides wanted it, then I leave it. Okay, we're good. Okay. Give it one more overhand. Just put this kind of over here right now. Okay. So we have Liberator in the shadow. So it's imposing your own tyranny over those who claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints. This is a person who can overstep their bounds a little bit. Either maybe isn't good at always reading the room, or he's an Aries. He could just be naturally with people that likes to push things and escalate things. Kind of just it's in their nature. They almost just don't know when to stop. Sometimes when they're excited, sometimes when they're angry. It could go both ways, but it is kind of like that where he has a natural inability to like see when things should be calmed down or stopped, or maybe he shouldn't say certain things. Seems like that, like a little bit of a non-filter on this guy. And then we have Seeker in the shadow. So it's inability to commit to a path once found. So he may be one of those guys that's more of a jack of all trades. I see the shapeshifter as well. I don't know if that means his time as an idol may be limited, or he's going to be one of those guys that wants to be an idol, wants to be an actor, wants to be a songwriter, wants to, you know, do a bunch of things, and he just may have a hard time dedicating his time to a single thing. You know, he just doesn't want to miss out on opportunities. Again, that's very Aries nature, where you're kind of always wanting to start things. Maybe you don't always know how to finish them, but you always want to start projects. It's a very go get them kind of energy. And then sometimes for better or for worse, you know what I mean? It's like they don't know when to stop again. So we have the companion in the shadow, which is betrayal by misusing confidences, low personal identity. I do feel like he might have a bit of a Casanova thing going on, where he may be the type of guy that has a lot of friends with benefits. I don't like to go too much into like love lives and stuff, but he's young. He may be, you know, what's it called? Sowing his oats. You know what I mean? So there may be some of that. That's kind of what I get with that card, is he may have a lot of companions. You know, that's not always a bad thing either. People are adults and they make their own choices. And if everyone's consensual, I don't care what you do. That personally, that's none of my business. So, but I get that vibe. You know, you're young and good looking. It seems like a waste and not to, you know, live your life. So we have Child of the Divine again. I do think this one's more in like, he likes to appear innocent. And I think in some things he truly is. I just think, you know, he does have like a childlike youthfulness to him that can be very attractive to people. He's not afraid to learn new things. He's not afraid to look inexperienced or naive for the sake of like just learning new things. Again, he wants to try to do all these things. He's constantly wanting to start new projects, find new aspects of himself. So it kind of has this very pure and like genuine excitement about him. So yeah, I think that can be something that is really attractive to other people, because he's just always very like, oh, well, that's so cool, you know? We have Saboteur in the shadow, which is induces self-destructive behavior at the desire to undermine others. So this is a straight up competition or competitive streak he has. Again, Aries, fire sign, not surprised. Super competitive, super, very, very, very competitive, at the cost of like, you don't really want to go against him. He will like, again, we talked about, he doesn't know when to quit. He doesn't know when to not take it too far. So he will take it like personally, like he's a little too personally invested in competition maybe sometimes. And it could go both ways. It could mean also that he looks at like any failures the groups take on as his personal failure too. So it could be detrimental to himself, because he might put too much pressure on the group's success onto him personally, or just wear that bad feeling more than he necessarily should. Like, he takes his successes as a big win, and he takes his failures as a big loss. Like, there's no in between. It's all, he kind of lives his life at 110%, good or bad. So then we have the shapeshifter. And this one's in the light, so it means skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness, ability to see the potential in everything. Again, I think this is with the seeker, where he wants to try everything. He wants to do everything. He wants to you know, travel and see what there is to see. But sometimes he can, like, this shows he can kind of bite off too much, or he just sometimes has a lot of interest in starting projects and doing a bunch of things, but he doesn't always have interest in finishing them. So let's go ahead and do this guide card that came out, and it came out on the side. So I think it means it has some light and dark. So I'm going to read both on this one. So in the light, it says representing the nature of the divine life. Oh, sorry, the divine in life and in yourself. And then shadow is places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. So again, he has this like pure aspect of loving the things he loves to bits, to almost too much. You know, he lives his life in extremes. So that means sometimes too, like when you commodify something you're passionate about, then you're not always going to do it from this place of love. Like sometimes you're going to do things because they're going to make you money. And could be that it is going to affect his artistic vision because he's not always going to be 100% true to that. He may be following trends sometimes because he wants to cash in on things. So it may be like he does have genuine excitement, and he tries to be a pretty straightforward person a lot of times, but sometimes if there's an opportunity to make money with something, and I do think this is more about his career, you know, with music or something, not necessarily like him, I don't know, you know, being disingenuous with individuals. But if he sees something where he can swerve in this to make some money, to make some more money, he might. Or if he thinks like the fans want to see a certain fan service from him, even if he doesn't necessarily like it, if he feels like it's going to make more people come to the fan sign, he might be up for doing it. You know, that's not an uncommon thing, honestly, but it is saying like he understands the industry, you know, and he will manipulate it sometimes to his benefit, you know. So it's like what you see isn't always what you get with him. But I don't think he has anything in here that shows he's a really bad person. He's just trying to make money. You know, he's just trying to live the idol life and make money. But sometimes he doesn't know when to quit, when to stop, when to cut his losses. So it can be, you know, it has its ups and its downs for him. So that's what I have for Harin. Okay, and then we're gonna go with Kanghyun, and he is a Sagittarius. Okay. Sag. Okay. Okay, Kanghyun. Yeah, this deck is a lot easier if I do it over hand. Alright. Kanghyun. Sagittarius. Okay. So we have dilettante in the shadow, which is a pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. So there may be a lot of times where he wants to come off as poetic and deep and thoughtful, and that's kind of an act, you know. It's not that he has bad intentions or anything like that, but I think he has a persona he has built and crafted, and he wants that to be what people see. And a lot of times that's a protection measure for, you know, or an insecurity to protect yourself from feeling like people are judging who you really are. You know, they're judging your persona. They're not judging you. And you know, that's helpful sometimes. I'm not saying that's always a bad thing, but it is saying he's definitely one of the ones that is putting up more of a front, is protecting who he really is from the media or from, you know, the public. He just wants to probably not feel judged all the time. But yeah, so there's a persona there. There's an active persona. So then we have mother in the shadow. Smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children or for becoming independent. Now, I don't know if he has siblings, but that's the first thing I thought. This is a person, again, that wants to have this like family leadership role as a nurturer. But also, if you don't allow that to them, they can be very kind of petty. So he may have some mommy issues. He may have some family issues. Or he may feel abandoned by his family, maybe, because it's almost like he's not allowed to nurture them, or he's angry that he can't And it could be that the idol situation is making it that way too, but it's almost like there's a feeling of abandonment, or that they're not letting him play his role. And there is resentment and anger there for him. But yeah, so there's some kind of family issue. Again, especially if he has younger siblings, it's revolving around them too. So I'm not sure, but that's a touchy subject, I think. Then we have Exorcist and Light. So it's freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. Again, we had that mother card. So he could be one of the more caretakery members of the group. Where he just, he may be the one that helps them through like the tougher times, especially maybe when they need someone to talk to. Also, we have some members that don't know their limits, so he may be the member that helps them come back down to earth when they need it. Kind of getting that vibe. Okay, so we have a servant in the shadow. Using the lack of money as an excuse not to move forward with life. He's the I can't do that, I'm broke friend. He's like, nope, I don't have money to go out and waste going shopping. I'm not doing that, friend. So this seems like we have two kind of miserly members here. And again, I don't know if it's just because they really don't make that much money. I wouldn't be surprised if the company doesn't pay them that well. I don't, it all depends on your contract and what company you're with. I think they're RBW. I'm not sure though. But there might be something like that where he's friends with probably richer idols or other groups on his label that are doing better or just more famous. I don't want to say doing better. I hate to say like they're not trying hard or anything like that because they are, but you know what I mean? More popular groups. So it seems like I can't do that. I don't make that kind of money. Like that's the thing he's probably saying. And he could be a homebody too. That could also be pointing that out where he's happy just kind of being at home. He may be an introvert. There's kind of that energy there too. So yeah, he's a I can't do that, I'm broke friend. I say that because that's also me. That's also me. So then we have Slave in the Shadow, which is giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear or making your own choices. A fear of making your own choices. So he is more of like a follower personality. He doesn't like to make choices. He may be, I don't want to say extremely, but he may be a more indecisive kind of person too. And this is just a warning that maybe he gives too much power to other people to make choices. Maybe, I don't know, again, what kind of contracts they've signed. There may be some fear there that he's given too much power to the company, or he's letting other people choose the direction of the group where he could have some actual insightful things to add that he doesn't. Yeah, I think it's just saying he is either scared of looking stupid or scared of a backlash. It could be, again, introvert tendencies is a lack of confidence. Not all introverts are lack of confidence, but some of these two things can go hand in hand. I do think Sagittarius, for being a fire sign, they don't like conflict, I think, or don't fare as well in conflict as some of the other fire signs. I mean, you don't want to make them mad, that's for sure, but I tend to find Sagittarius, in my experience, avoid conflicts. They like to be recognized for what they're good at, and kind of if you don't see that, they kind of just move on. It could depend on the rest of his chart, of course, too, if especially if he has Cancer or Pisces or something. But yeah, it's almost like he doesn't get what he deserves, and he almost just kind of rides along in the back seat and lets other people drive. And again, I think they're still young, so it may be something he grows out of with time as he gains confidence as a man, but right now he just kind of does. And it could just be there's other strong personalities and he's just not ready to battle all that. He may be just more of a meeker, milder person. Again, that's not bad. It could be why he's like the mom friend where they come and talk to him when they have problems, because he's a good listener, probably. Things like that. Again, he wants to nurture people. He wants to take care of people, but he may be afraid to feel too argumentative or aggressive. It may be something he doesn't like. So then we have a detective in the light, which is great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. So again, if he's not the one talking all the time, he's the one listening all the time. He's the one watching. Again, he's the one people confide in. So he probably knows everybody's dirt. Again, you don't want to make him mad, because if he does, he probably can end everybody's careers. You know what I mean? Like, he's that guy. But lucky for them, he doesn't want to do that. So yeah, but he's the one, and he also probably is really smart. And if he's a keen observer, you know, he probably good at helping solve problems. Again, another reason to go talk to them. All these things kind of line up. He's just really good at taking care of people and seeing what they need, and also just kind of being aware of his situation and the people he's around. So he's just an attentive, kind of nurturing person. And maybe because of that, he builds that persona that he doesn't want people to always see maybe how soft he is. Something like that. You know, maybe he does want to show off more of a fiery energy because he thinks that's what people want or expect. I don't know, there's something like that there. And then we have Dongmyeong, the Capricorn. Let's get his card. Here we go. Cap. Okay. So. Capricorns are usually work-oriented, get the job done. If you need someone to make a decision for you, you ask them. So we have kind of like probably a younger member that feels a bit more like an older member, because they probably keep some of the older members more in line. Again, we have some that probably don't know how to filter as well. So this one's, I think, going to be very aware of how they look from the outside. The way they're viewed by the public. You know, and how they're viewed by the industry, because I think Capricorns, again, are very work motivated. And if there's anyone in the group that cares how maybe the label feels, or how the people, the other groups they work with, or the you know, the production companies and stuff, it will be this one. Like those kind of industry minutia, like they care about. Okay. So, oops. We got the bully and the victim. I don't really like that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That's interesting. Okay. That is interesting. So we have gossip in the upright. So it's awakening consideration for the feelings of others, honoring trust. So he's another one. He's a vault. You can tell him anything. He is not here to spread, excuse me, secrets. But I do think with some of these, he's also a collector of secrets. He likes having leverage. I'll put it that way. And again, this may not be directly at his group members. It could be how he treats company or people outside. Again, he's going to be the one that's more business oriented. So he's the one paying attention to everyone they work with a lot. So it could be something like that, you know, saving that kind of stuff in your pocket for later, for a rainy day, that kind of thing. Again, they have a couple members that are super observant. So maybe that's a tip off to this group, kind of knows some things. Maybe that, like things you don't want to get out to dispatch kind of thing, because it seems like there's secrets here. Then we have bully in the shadow, which is conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. So he may not be a bully outright, but I think he can have a very harsh way of talking to people. he could seem cold, and maybe less less nurturing than the others. He may be like, that's not my problem. You know, I got enough stuff to worry about. Like, kind of maybe that. He could seem kind of cruel in like a cold way. That I'm not sure. It seems like there's something kind of rough edges about him so far. So we have victim also in the shadow, which is playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity. Inability to maintain personal boundaries. So yeah, there's something here where it's almost like these two together talk about gaslighting. And I just don't know if that's him being gaslit or he's doing it, or there's a cycle of it. But this is definitely, you know how someone says something kind of crappy to you and you're like, hey, I don't like that you said that, that hurt my feelings. And they're like, well, I didn't mean it that way. You took it that way, so that's your fault. It's that energy. So I just don't know if that's a fighting tactic that he's learned, like it's a cycle that's been passed down kind of thing, or it's just his mode of self-protection. I don't know, and it could be him butting heads with the other more fiery members, because we have a ram and a goat, so a lot of times those two will butt heads. You know, the ram is Aries, so anything with horns, you know, can be very stubborn and dig their heels in. But the Capricorn is going to be very methodical. So there could be an issue with gaslighting. I'm just putting that out there because these two cards together is like, I'm being aggressive, but then I'm going to play the victim. So it could just mean he's an argumentative member. Some people are argumentative or contrarian for fun. They just enjoy the intellectual response or intellectual exercise of it. Some people are like that, so there could be that. But we're gonna go into the next row because I don't need to dwell too much here. So we have student in the light, which is humility and devotion to knowledge, openness to lifelong learning. So yeah, he's smart and he likes learning and he likes studying, and he probably might be one of those goes for his master's degree people. You know, I just think he enjoys, like, learning is probably exciting for him. Some people hate books, hate reading. I think he's a book reader. I think he likes to expand and not only be smart, but feel smart, you know? There's a whole, like, kind of gaslighting people can also be, like, because they feel like they're the smartest person in the room kind of deal. I'm feeling air sign moon on this guy. I haven't looked up his chart, but with this kind of intellectualism, that's very Mercurian. It could be Virgo too, but it's either some kind of air sign or Virgo I'm feeling for that moon, because this is like an emotional reaction. And then we have a rescuer in the light, which is provide strength and support to others in crisis. Acts out of love with no expectation of reward. So he is the person, if he does something nice for you, he doesn't expect anything back. He does it because he wants to. Again, I think he has like an icy exterior, but he is the type of like person that as you get to know him, that will melt away, you know? And he likes to help kind of people in need. So there may be a volunteering kind of aspect, or he likes to donate to causes that he believes in. There is something about giving back to people here. That's kind of good. So we'll get into the beggar, which is light in the light. It says confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, which is a weird sentence. Awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. So again, this kind of feels like a reiteration of this card, because the authority the spiritual authority of humility and compassion. But at the level of physical survival. So it's like, again, it's like wanting to help people that are really in need. Like in extreme cases, people who have been, again, like put out of their homes or aren't, don't have food to eat or things like that, maybe causes he really cares for, is kind of like at like a base level survival. So he may be kind of into helping people get fresh water or, again, helping the homeless or something like that. Maybe like the kind of causes he's into supporting. But yeah, there's good and bad. Like he definitely is the type that wants to help people, but also his kind of self-defense mechanism seems to be gaslighting, which can be dangerous. It's not my favorite thing. But, again, I always like to say people grow, people change, they learn from their mistakes. What reading I give them now probably will be totally different and when I do another reading in like a year from now. Because we all grow and change. We all see we do have bad habits and then we try to break those habits, and sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. So again, like I said, there's good and bad in every person. Okay, and then the last member I have, I think his name is Kia. It's either Kia or I want to say it like Kia, but I don't think that's right. That's like a Japanese pronunciation. I think it's Kia. And oh yeah, he's an Aquarius. So let's get his card out. What is with like Aquarius maknaes? I swear that's super common. The more of these readings I do, this is like group number 5 I know of, like Aquarius maknaes. And it's interesting that that's a thing. Like the maknaes seem to be like the free thinkers of the group and kind of the more introverted members. It's like there is something to the K-pop formula of finding members and like the personalities that fit those roles. Like, because Aquarius is a free thinker, but they also really like structure. Like, they operate the best with a very clear structure. And then sometimes their role is to change that structure, but they like to know what the rules are before they go on trying to break them. So maybe those personalities react the best to being the youngest and being, having everyone telling you what to do. So yeah, I'm not totally sure, but it does seem to be a repeating pattern. And all the Aquarian maknaes I know are kind of bookish. Like, again, they like to kind of sit alone in their rooms and like read or play video games or something where they're kind of like puzzle solving on their own or expanding their knowledge base out on their own. Okay. Kia. Okay. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. So we have Gambler in the Shadow, which is relying on luck rather than hard work. But really what came into my mind when I read that is work smarter, not harder. Let me make sure we're still recording. Yeah, we are. Is a work smarter, not harder philosophy. Like, it almost is also like what other people will do for me, then I don't have to do it. So again, this could be a maknae thing where he's like, I'm the youngest, I can get out of doing these things, so I'm going to. It's almost like taking advantage of loopholes or taking advantage of opportunities in an intelligent way, It's definitely like not a how can I get out of this and like I don't feel like working, but it's like if other people are already doing it, why do I have to do it too? Like, I don't know. There's something like clever about it, but again, also risky. So interesting. I think he might also be a bit of a practical joker with this energy I'm getting. So then we have Hermit in the shadow. Surprise, Aquarius and Hermit. Withdraws from society out of fear and negative judgments of others. Refusing to help those in need. Again, like, do I have to do this? But also, again, likes to hide away in their little safe cocoon. Very introverted. Again, very Aquarian. Like, at least in the habit of these groups, all the Aquarian magnes I know are like a bit hide away in their studio, hide away in their home reading books, hide away at their mom's house. Like, they kind of have a safe space they need to have. And they have to recharge their little batteries at it all the time. So yeah, they're kind of the hermit, like literally. And then we have the magical child in shadow, which is pessimism, depression, and disbeliefs in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. He might have a dark like side of depression. A lot of times when you're a bit atypical in your thinking, it can be something that makes you feel othered, makes you feel ostracized, and it could lead to a lot of negative feelings on his part. So he could also feel just kind of limited. He could view himself as like a realist that, you know, isn't too optimistic about things, you know, kind of glass half empty kind of person. And that's kind of what I'm feeling, is maybe he's spending too much time alone, but also he doesn't really like being super social. So it's like a catch-22. We have guide in the shadow, which is places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. So we kind of had this from one of the other members in a more neutral position, and in this one is in the shadow. So a lot of this is like, I'm here for the money. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of this is I'm an idol for the money. Like, this is a job. I'm not really trying to make a lot of friends. That's not to say that's how he feels about his group. I'll probably do a reading here with the career to tell if they're closer or not. But this tells me like maybe he doesn't make a lot of idol friends. I don't know if he runs in a big group where, because he's kind of like, this is just my job. I'm not here to make best friends. Like, that's the vibe that card is giving me. And then we have femme fatale in the shadow as well. Inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money and power. Again, this is like, I'm here for the money. I'm doing fan service for the money. I'm, like he's selling the fantasy for the money. So just like, he understands what is expected of him and he will do it. But it's like, it's a job. It's just a job. Like that's really the vibe I'm getting from him. It's like, I show up and I work. Then we have father in the light, which is talent for creating and supporting life. Positive guiding light within a tribal unit. So this could be his dream, is to really be a father, to have his own little family unit in the future. And it could be, again, he's serious about making money for his end game. Maybe he's saving money because he wants to raise a family, or to provide for a family. That could be just something that's really important to him. And it could be why he's, kind of closed off in a lot of ways. Like, he's just trying to make money for a personal goal. So, but it does seem like he wants to have his own family unit. He wants to be a dad. So that's what I have for Kia. So now I'm going to head and do a quick, a quick career reading and see what we can see. Okay, we're going to use my Tarot of the Holy Spectrum. Oh, I got my Dreams of Gaia out first, but that's right. We'll use this one instead. Okay, so this is my Tarot of the Holy Spectrum. We're going to draw probably about 8 cards for this career reading, since this is kind of a big reading that they ordered from the donation, the coffee page, which the link is in the description if you want to order a reading through the coffee page. It's a $5 donation per idol per reading. So, you know, like this has been this is the 6th reading in this. So this is generally speaking a $30 donation. And the only difference between this and like what you can get through my Etsy is what you get on the Etsy is a private reading that only you get the link. The donation is cheaper because obviously it goes on YouTube and then it gets monetized from here. So it's like just a recommendation for the channel. And that's why I try to talk about them separately or differently. Because one is just completely private. You can get it for a personal reading for yourself or for whatever idol of you're choosing. You know, and if there's any confusion, just talk to me first. We'll set you up and get you sorted on what your reading is and which one's best for you and how much it costs, you know. So don't be afraid to message me before you order your readings. Like, in fact, I really encourage it so I can make sure you get the best reading possible. So just putting that out there. Okay, so career for ONEWE. How are they doing? How is the label treating them? What's coming up for them in the future? Ooh, okay, that flew out for how the label's treating them. That is the 8 of Swords. But it's in reverse. So we're seeing them kind of come out of a period of kind of being boxed in. Now, the first thing that came to my mind is coming out of quarantine. Did they have any members with, you know, the plague? Because it seems like maybe they're coming out of quarantine. If not, kind of a very soon kind of thing. Maybe, or if there was something that was kind of held back due to the plague, it might be coming soon. I don't know if anything was canceled and they're trying to reschedule something, but it could be that too. But quarantine was like the first thing. But whatever it is, it feels like it's something that was held back because of the plague times. So what else we got for ONEWE? Okay. The Sun and nostalgia as well. So it's like almost being happy to see old friends. I also wonder if there's a cover. Like, is there recently or soon to be like some kind of cover they're going to release? Because nostalgia means like something older that makes you like comfortable, that you love. Sometimes it's an old friend, sometimes it could be an old song. So for them, it feels like there's like happiness and like a cover, something that kind of brings them joy. Maybe something they had to do while they were locked away and they didn't have a lot of options, something like that. Page of Cups in reverse. That is interesting. I do kind of feel like it's just something that they're not going to get a huge response, because like the Page of Cups to me is like new friendships or new relationships. And it seems like that's just saying they're not going to be getting too much of that. Like, it's just if they're going to release something, they really liked it, but it's just probably not going to get the big response they're hoping for. The Devil. I hope there's not a scandal breaking out about these guys, because this is like negative attention. Could be just a rumor someone tries to start and it doesn't take off, but it does seem like someone they don't want to be looking at them is looking at them. Also could be like pressure. Like if this isn't getting a good reaction, it could be getting a negative reaction, and that's like going to greatly affect their confidence. Page of Pentacles also, yeah, is a lack of... This is a lack of money or a lack of resources that's going to cause them to miss an opportunity. So again, this could be just the label not giving them enough opportunities. We may see the fans upset and having to protest that they're not getting the opportunities they should be getting in the near future. Because this is also like a career reading that's going to say some of these things are coming up down the road. Then we have Judgment in reverse as well. going to pull the rest of the cards just to get more info on that. It's Two of Cups in reverse. And the Tower in reverse. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's not the Tower. That's the Three of Swords. Okay. I don't see this group renewing their contracts later down the road. I don't see them being a long-term group, honestly, because this whole row here, a lot of times this is the kind of near future, and this is like the further future into their career. This is lack of resources, missing opportunities, kind of not being accepted. It could be by the public or by the company or whatever. Like there's just like an inability to like graduate to the next level. Two of Cups mean a member could leave, could be multiple members leave. And then the Three of Swords is also just sorrow and kind of disappointment. So it's not saying this is happening tomorrow. So like, don't get super upset, but I do think this is just alluding to like, I don't think this is a long-term group. And we may see some of them split off. Now, we may see some members stay. Maybe they go from being a 5-member group to like a 3-member group. It could happen. It could be kind of a day 6 thing. But I do think we're going to see a similar pattern here for them. Like, I just think these kind of groups, the way they're put together and the way they're managed by their companies is just never good. They don't know what to do quite with these groups. And then like, when there's no group like leading the charge for them to like follow the formula, they tend to just stop putting their resources into them because they don't know what to do. So I don't know. I think for the near future, we're going to see them maybe release a cover and kind of be happy to like come out of some of the quarantine stuff we've been dealing with. But for the far future, I just don't see a lot of happiness and resource and big successes for them, you know, and I hate giving that kind of news, but I just think that they're probably not happy in their situation because they're not getting the resources they deserve, and then they're just not going to put themselves through that if they don't have to. So that's the career reading I have. Again, I hate giving bad news, but that's what the cards say. So yeah, I think at best we might keep about 3 members and lose a couple. At worst, the whole group may not renew their contracts when that comes up. So yeah, but I do think no, I don't know. I think there's excitement for this cover, but it just doesn't perform as well. And I just don't know if this devil is a part of why it doesn't. If someone at the same time tries to sabotage it or make weird claims or just, I don't know. There's some weird outside influence that's going to affect them at some point in the near future. So I don't know. Unless the name of their cover is literally devil, which, you know, that could happen, but it's a rare case. But yeah, this person is just like, this kind of feels like internet weirdness coming for them a little bit. But it's come for everybody else, so we probably won't be surprised. So anyway, thank you so much for your request. I hope you got more than you bargained for. And appreciate you making the request. And yeah, that's what I have for today. So I hope you guys are having a lovely day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, most importantly. And I will see you soon. Bye.